Hello Aquarius, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy, their energy, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Aquarius. Let's jump on in. We're going to start with looking at the overall energy through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. So let's start, Aquarius, with your side of this connection. Aquarius's energy toward the person they're dealing with, needing to learn the most from right now. Okay. Love, okay. Love, surrender, soulmate recognition. When it comes to this person, I feel like you have unconditional love for them. Truly. Like, I feel like you love them for who they are. You love them for who they're not. It's very much a beautiful energy. But then this surrender card here is where things get a little bit, I feel like, more complicated, because there's also this energy of kind of feeling like you're drowning. Because I feel like you have so much to give here, but it feels like you're giving so much away to this person in this connection that there's very little left over for you, because I feel like there's a lack of reciprocation here. Lack of reciprocation from them, whether it's time, energy, effort, whatever it is, love. I don't know. Yeah, but I feel like you have such strong feelings for them that, it's like it feels worth it, but it's also so hard to bear and to handle. This person's energy toward you, Aquarius. This is the second time we're seeing this soulmate recognition card. So I feel like you and this person connect on a very deep level. There's growth and there's deja vu. And then healing. Ooh, okay. I feel like this person sees the potential in this connection that you see too. I do. I feel like you both kind of have, like I said, that soul draw to each other. Like it's below the surface, kind of like an unspoken kind of thing. But it also feels that this person has a tendency to, it's almost like act different than how they feel. So they have strong feelings, they care about you, they want this connection to work, but it's almost like their actions don't fully back that up. It's like there's this lack of effort being put into this connection. I feel like it's hard because, I do feel like the feelings are mutual, but the way that each person is showing up, it's very different. Like I said, there's the kind of this unconditional love coming from your side where you're putting in the effort and you're pouring into this connection, you're pouring into this person. And I feel like this person has, the same feelings for you, but not putting in the same effort. And it keeps this cycle from being able to expand past where it is. So it's almost like you guys are stuck in where it's at, even though there is so much more potential here. And with this deja vu, it kind of feels like this person is trapped in a cycle of their own too. So maybe we'll get more information on that when we dive into tarot. Truth of the connection between Aquarius and this person. Optimism. Whoa. Dream come true, but then trapped. Dream come true with this passion card. I feel like there's such strong feelings here. It's like, what's the best way to describe this? I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like this connection has so many heights that it could reach, but you're trapped at a level below that potential in this connection. It's like the connection isn't evolving. It's not getting to that place. Like it's hitting a wall almost. And I want to know why. I feel like you're like me too. And I think that it's been really hard for you to navigate too, because I do feel like you're pouring into this as much as you can. Like I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to be what this person needs, or to, to give to this. Because again, if you're already feeling like you're not getting what you need from this person in return, sometimes, when people aren't loving us the way that we deserve, or showing up for us in the way that we deserve, sometimes we feel like we need to try harder, right? We need to pour more into them and into the connection to try to get them to reciprocate. And sometimes that can leave us feeling really drained. And at the end of the day, almost like no matter how hard we try, it's never enough. So I don't know what's going on here, but let's see. Overall theme of this reading for Aquarius. What does Aquarius need to know about this connection? That didn't seem intentional. We will overcome this if changes will be made. I feel like there's this part of you that feels like this will be worth it in the end. So it's like, that things aren't where you want them to be right now, but it's like, if we could just get through this, if we could just break through, right, that barrier we keep reaching, then things could be so good. Like, it'll be worth it, it'll be worth it, it'll be worth it. But it's like, you keep telling yourself that. You keep wanting it to be that way, but things never evolve. And this changes will be made card, it's not about changes to the connection. It's about individual changes. Okay, so we'll come back to this, I feel like. So I don't know what's going on here. But let's just see what Tarot has to say. Let's break this down a little bit further. Aquarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Aquarius' side of this connection, please. Justice in reverse. It's like you keep getting like screwed over. That's the word I hear. It's a very, there's quite the imbalance here in this. It was very obvious from the beginning, but I think it's even more so than I originally realized. Tower. High Priestess. Ooh, okay, Ace of Cups in reverse. Okay. I feel like there's a part of you that, tries to kind of push down how you feel and move forward, because obviously you want to get to a certain point in this connection. You feel like if you do, things are going to be really good, right? So I feel like you try to kind of like push aside how you feel to try to just, keep showing up, keep doing what you can. But it's like you're constantly led back to these tower moments. Maybe where you're feeling emotionally exhausted, or you're really angry, or you're really frustrated with where things are at. And you have a right to feel that way, right? Like, your feelings are very valid, and it's obvious that you're not getting what you deserve out of this. But I also at the same time feel like there's this energy of like, I don't know what else to do. I'm afraid that, I'm afraid of this connection. I'm afraid of losing this person. I'm afraid of this connection falling apart. So I feel like there's this energy of like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I get that. I absolutely do. I think that unconditional love, when we have unconditional love for another person, of course, we're going to be willing to do anything for them. But I feel like there's something that Spirit is wanting to draw your attention to a little bit, because your soul is really drained by this, and has been for a while. And I feel like for a while it was easy to ignore, kind of like push it to the side and be like, oh, it's fine. But I feel like you're at this point where you're like, I don't know if I can ignore this anymore, because it feels like your higher self, your intuition is saying, you deserve more, you deserve better, you deserve mutual effort, not just mutual feelings, but mutual effort. And I feel like you know that, right? You know you deserve more, and that's what you're working toward, but you keep coming up short. And that has you feeling like, first of all, you're never going to have the love that you deserve and desire. And second of all, I feel like it's really making you feel like you're not enough. Like, no matter how much you pour, no matter how much you give to this person, no matter how much you sacrifice, it truly never seems to be enough. And it's not that you're not enough. And that's so, so incredibly important for you to know. You absolutely are enough. You're enough for who you are, even not when you're over giving either. So I feel like Spirit's trying to draw you into understanding this in a different level, like in a different perspective, so that you take your power back a little bit from this. Because I feel like, again, this has taken a lot from you. And you obviously care about this person, so I feel like you're okay with that, but it's almost like it's getting harder and harder to be okay with it. It's something that is becoming harder and harder to ignore. And that's your intuition. Yeah, your higher self is saying, hey, something's got to give here, because this isn't, what in the world? Oh, this isn't fair. This isn't what you deserve. So let's see what we've got for this person. Deja vu with soulmate recognition. This person's energy toward Aquarius, please. Eight of Wands again. It's like, because the Eight of Wands to me doesn't feel like change. It feels like a constant. And I'll get to what I mean by that in a second. Eight of Swords. Okay. Five of Cups. Oh, Justice in reverse. Empress in reverse. Okay. And Four of Cups. And then there's the Ace of Wands on the bottom. So the feelings are there. Feelings are mutual. This is a lot to unpack. Try to think of the best way to put this into words. Okay. I'm going to kind of explain this in a broader concept, and then I'll break it down into the energy that's coming through. People can only meet us to the depth in which they've met themselves. People can only love us to the extent they love themselves. People can only choose us to the extent they choose themselves. People can only meet us where they've met themselves. And meeting yourself on a deeper level requires healing and awareness and active conscious effort. And most people are running from doing that work, from facing themselves, from addressing these deeper issues. But every person at their core has the desire to love and be loved for who they really are. So this person deeply desires what this connection holds. They see it, they want it, but they have no idea how to be what they need to be for it. And that's where I feel like things are getting lost or stuck. The depth of a connection, the potential that can be reached in a connection, it requires, how do I say it? The potential of a connection is only going to be met at the potential of the individuals in the connection, meaning that you can have done all of this healing, all of this work on yourself, you work on loving yourself, you show up in love, all of this wonderful, you have the potential to reach that potential of what this connection could be. But if this person hasn't done that work, doesn't love themselves, hasn't done the healing, hasn't done the work, then their potential is going to be here. Their potential show up for the connection, which means although you're capable of this, you're going to be experiencing this. If, again, it's like can only be to the potential of each. It's kind of like only as strong as our weakest link, but that sounds really aggressive for this reading because I'm not saying this person's a weak link. What I am saying is that when we see people who are not capable of being what we need, a lot of times we take the approach of, well, let me be what they need. And the more that I am what they need, the more that they'll eventually be what I need. So then you try to bear the weight of the connection yourself. You try to say, if I put in all this work and all of this effort, I show up and I love them and I'm there for them and I care for them, then maybe I can increase that potential, which is going to, so you're bearing everything. You're bearing the emotional burden. You're bearing the labor of the connection. You're bearing all of it, the effort, all of it. You're giving. You're giving. And you're dealing with somebody who isn't making changes to improve themselves. They're not working on their healing. 8 of Swords, trapped. They're trapped in a prison of their own making. And to break themselves free, they got to address these things, right? They've got to do the work. They've got to do the healing. They've got to work on themselves. They've got to show up better for themselves. It's kind of like, and I've talked about this before. I've used this analogy before, so maybe you've heard me say this. It's like somebody wanting to run a marathon, but not doing any training, not being a runner at all, not even an athletic person, and just tries to show up on marathon day and just run the marathon. They're probably going to fail, right? They're not going to make it to the finish line. If somebody wants love, if somebody wants to get to experience being loved and loving at the depth in which they desire, they have to do that work individually to make it work. Healthy relationships are composed of 2 people showing up for themselves and the connection. When you have one person doing it, it not only is unfair, okay, sure, but it's also eventually going to be unsustainable. Because if you are giving everything you have to somebody, if you're trying to love somebody into loving themselves, if you're trying to choose somebody into choosing themselves, and you're doing these things at the expense of your own mental, emotional, and physical well-being, eventually you're not going to be able to do that anymore. Because givers, you can give, only to a certain limit. You only have so much energy you can show up with, and you can give. Takers, when people in the position of taking, they can take all day long, right? And with this justice in reverse here too, it kind of feels like there's this lack of accountability about the ways that they show up. So it kind of feels like they have certain expectations of what they should receive in a connection, but they're not showing up with that same effort. And that's what a healthy relationship is all about. It's about being what you want, being what you need, being for the other person what you're looking for, right? And you're doing that. You're showing up with that energy. You're showing up with that effort. And all you're asking for in return is to be reciprocated. And I promise you, Aquarius, you're not asking for too much. So Spirit is asking you to look at this in a bigger picture way. To look at this from this place of what is the dynamic at play? Because there is nothing we can do, and this is the hard truth. There's nothing we can do to change other people. We can't make other people be better for us or be better for themselves. We can't. We have to accept people where they're at. We have to let people be who they are, let them do what they're going to do, and we have to decide, is this enough for me? Is this, and we have to get honest with ourselves about that. Not, could this be enough potentially in the future if things change? Because a lot of times we have a tendency to invest in connections for the potential of what it could be. And the second that we invest in it for the potential is the second we set ourselves up for heartbreak, because people can only meet us where they're at right now. So when somebody, if to ask you the question, if this person never changed, if this is the energy they consistently give, if this is the effort they consistently give from this point forward forever, is that what you want? Is that what you deserve? Or are you showing up in this out of hopes that things change? Because when we show up out of hopes that people change, we're going to be consistently disappointed by where they're capable of meeting us at right now, especially if they are not doing the work, and we can't do the work for other people. We can't save, fix, or heal another person. We can't. We cannot do it no matter how much we want to. We cannot. Can we support people on their healing journey? Absolutely. Can two individuals who are on their journey together heal and grow and evolve together? Absolutely. In fact, I think that that's one of the most beautiful things that happens in this world. I get to experience it with my husband. But it's when both individuals are making the conscious choice to break habits, break cycles, and to show up better. And it feels like this person is running from those things. And that, I feel like, is where you're needing to ask yourself, is this fair to me? Because when we're looking for love in people who don't choose us, value us, treat us like we deserve, there's always an indication that something karmic is going on. One of the number one ways that childhood trauma shows up in our adult relationships is by trying to get people who don't choose us, value us, or treat us the way that we desire to be treated to do so. And when we address the deeper wounds at play, we start to understand that our value isn't composed of how much we love another person or how much we give another person. You are inherently a valuable human being, and you deserve to be loved and treated as such. And when somebody isn't doing that, a lot of times for a lot of us, especially if we've been made to feel unlovable and unvaluable in the past, it's going to trigger those wounds. It's going to trigger those beliefs within us that says you're not enough. So then we're going to try to do everything in our power to be enough. But you're never going to be enough if you're looking for love, for effort, for consistency, for commitment, and people who are not doing those things for themselves. And that is one of the best lessons I've ever learned, is that people can only meet us where they're at, and where they're at is their prison. I mean, it's not an indication of what we're capable of. And it sucks, right? When we love somebody, all we want is for them to be happy. But that has to be a choice that they make. And the only thing that we can do is make the choice that aligns with us, the choice that aligns with our worth, the choice that allows us to access the deepest truth at this moment that says, where is this person at? And is this truly okay with me? If this person never changes, if they never go. And not from a place of, I'm willing to take whatever I can get because it's them, but from a place of, if this were anybody else and I was getting treated like this, and this is what I was receiving, would this be enough for me? Is this truly what I deserve? Or is this a cycle that needs to be broken? When we start asking those questions, we take our power back. So in between this connection, we're going to look at trapped with dream come true. We're going to dive deeper into this cycle, looking at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Thank you so much, Aquarius. As always, I do feel like Spirit is trying to get really honest in this reading, and sometimes those honest readings are a little bit hard for me to present, and please know that I'm only ever coming from a place of love. I've been in a lot of connections with people who didn't choose me or value me, and I learned a lot through those connections, and to this day I'm very grateful for a lot of those relationships, because they did eventually lead me to my husband and a love beyond my wildest dreams. And I truly believe that all of these lessons and all of these things that I've learned on my journey, I'm put here to help other people learn on theirs so that they can also receive the love that they deserve and desire. Because I promise you, if it's possible for me, it is absolutely possible for anybody. So please know that I'm coming from nothing but a place of wanting every single person who comes across this reading or any of the readings on my channel to be able to receive what it is that they deserve and desire in this life. That's all I want. But I also know that one of the number one things that people do is look for love in people who can't love them well. And that is the number one thing that is going to block you from the love that you ultimately deserve and desire. And there's always a reason why we do it. So when we address that reason, we can take our power back, set ourselves free from that cycle so that we can have the love that we've been looking for all along. And I feel like that's what this changes will be made card is about. It's not about changes to the connection. It's not about changes to this person. It's about changes to you. Because when we're frustrated with somebody else for not changing, on some level, we are frustrated with ourselves for not changing. So, all right, Aquarius, I'm going to hop on over to that extended. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, as always, for your support of this channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aquarius.